In the next video, we'll talk about how to take these qualified, counseled buyers from our last interview and how to help them make the decision to buy a home. I think most of you agree is that you really can't sell a home. A buyer chooses to buy it. So your control isn't over their behavior in choosing a home. Your behavior is over choosing the home to make sure that the one they see is the right one. So the buyer counseling interview was the first half, finding out, diagnosing, and now it's time to select property. Now your trainers and managers I'm sure have or will cover with you all the different ways to find different homes through the multiple listing service, so you have that in covered. Certainly you would search by price range and you'd be ready to show. So in this seminar I'm going to talk about the sequence of showings. There's actually a sequence of the way you present a home that will affect the ultimate outcome. We'll talk about how to avoid sticker shock, take you through some guidelines to the showing process, how to tell when a buyer is ready to buy, finally the best way to close, and a couple of ideas on how to get a full price offer. So let's start off on the sequence of showings. And I would introduce you to the law of contrast, or the theory of relativity. In this chart we show three pails of water. The one on the left is ice water, cold. The one in the middle is room temperature. The one on the right is hot water. If I had one person stick their hand in the cold water for 5 minutes, another person stick their hand in the hot water for 5 minutes, and at the end they both put their hand in the room temperature water, what would be the perception? The person from the cold water, kind of like coming in from shoveling snow, you put your hand in lukewarm water and goes, wow, that's hot. The person in the hot water makes it feel like ice water. So what I'm leading you to is that all human perception is relative. So when you show a home to somebody, that home is just a product. It's room temperature. Whatever they saw before it has their perception. And most people will create their own contrast. To know what the right thing to do in life is, we look for options. When you go shopping, it's called shopus interruptus. You find a product, you pick it up, and you go, well, honey, what do you think? Well, I guess we could take this. Well, just a second, what else is there? Just hold that thought. And don't you go look at one more VCR, one more dress, one more blouse, one more car, one more house? I'll give you another example. I'd like each of you to imagine a time where you're focusing a single lens reflex camera, and you take the camera up and you look through the lens and it's blurry. What do?
Adjust.
You adjust and you adjust, and pretty soon it gets perfectly clear. And what do you do now?
Take a picture.
Do you? How many of you turn a little bit further? How many of you do? Most people, if you watch, they go blurry, clear, and then they go blurry. And what you do is you establish the parameters of what is clear. It is human nature, law of contrast, theory of relativity. That's how we shop. So what I'm going to suggest to you is work in harmony with the human psychology. And when you show homes, there's an order that works in harmony with this. And let's take a situation where you have 4 homes to show a buyer. Home A, B, C, and D. And by the way, on the market in their price range, there's home A through Z. Z is the worst home in the market. They could never buy it in a million years. So you've picked out the 4 best homes to show. All of them are in their price range. All of them meet their needs. But clearly, if you know your buyers, how many of you have been able to pick out the one they're going to buy before they knew? A lot of you knew. You go, that's the one they're going to buy? I just know it. Sometimes you're wrong, but sometimes you know. So you have home A, B, C, and D. Which order do you show them in? There's 16 possible combinations.
Don't just throw the one you think they're going to buy in like the second last place.
All right, I've got a couple of suggestions. Let me take you through the extremes. In the first situation, we show them D first. Now I want to make a strong point here. Home D is the least of the 4, but it's still a good and valuable home. You don't just put a dog in there. That would be highly manipulative and even fraudulent. So please be careful in this. These 4 homes are the 4 best. They walk into home D and they go, oh, all right, let's take a look. Oh, I don't know, honey, how much is this? No, I don't think so. They get to home C and they go, oh, yeah, this is a little bit better. See, the longer we look, honey, the better they get. Yeah, okay. Well, what else do you have? Oh, this is great. I like this. This is the best of all of them. Oh, this is fun. What else do you have? They get to home A. This is wonderful. Oh, this is fun. See, honey, the longer we look, the better they get. Okay, what's next? And you set them up because they keep getting better and better and better and better. They'll keep looking. And some of you might be thinking, hey, I don't play a lot of stupid games. I'm going to take them out and show them home A. What's the problem? It isn't home A yet. It's a relative position. To them, it's a home nothing. It isn't home A till they go to see this home, and this one is better than that, so by comparison, this is B, that must be A. But they don't know it's A till they see the next one. And by the way, if you start off with A, where are the rest of your showings going? Downhill. what I would recommend, when possible, is to put A in third position. So same thing happens. D, oh, no, it's okay, but we couldn't live here. No, what else do you have? B, C, oh, this is better. See, honey, the longer we look, the better they get. A, oh, yes, this is great. Oh, this is the best one we've seen. See, honey, the longer we look, the better they get. Great, what else do you have? And you go to see B, and they go, B, yeah, this is nice too. A, B, you know what, honey, I think the last one's better. Fine, you positioned it. Advertising agencies do this with clients. Jewelers do it with purchasers. They work you up a little bit. So the law of contrast is a powerful way to do it. But I want to end with a caveat. Number one, make sure you have integrity, that you are showing 4 homes they really could buy. You don't throw a stupid one in there just to make the other one look good. That lacks integrity. And number 2, if you have to drive 60 miles away to do this, people are going, didn't we just drive by this home a minute ago? Yeah, but I went to this seminar and he said I couldn't show it to you till 3rd. I mean, so you've got to be careful when you do this. Have you ever dealt with people coming into your market where when they hear the price of a property, they go totally blown away, sticker shock? Here's a technique for dealing with sticker shock. I've had it done to me in 3 markets. I had it done to me in Hawaii once. I was at the NAR convention in Hawaii. And a friend of mine took me to a property that was a little 800 square foot tornado decoy. Mobile home, you know, that's kind of how it looked. But I went into this little 800 square foot home and I thought, boy, there's not enough room to change your mind in this home. And she said, would you like to guess the price of this? And I went, oh, back home this would be about $26,900. I know we're in Hawaii, so it's got to be $100,000. And she says, $799. $799? Wow. How do they get that? She said, see that right there? And I went, yeah, that's Diamond Head. That's how close we are to Diamond. And this is the finest real estate on the planet. Oh, yeah, I see that now. So we went to another home, much nicer home. What do you think this is worth? Well, in Minnesota, it'd be $100,000, multiply it times 4, double it 3 times, divide by, I said, well, this is probably, what, $1.5 million? And she says, you're getting close. This is about $1.9 million. Took me to another one, same thing, and I went, well, 100,000 times 2 times 3, double it 3 times. I said, what, $2.5 million? Is that what you're going to tell me? And she said, right on. If I was a buyer, when should she have started showing me homes? After the 3rd. Too many salespeople go through the same process that I've led you through on homes you want them to buy. Now you have them getting angry at the prices of real estate that a month from now they'll wish they would have bought. So have them vent their anger on somebody else's listing that's already sold. That's the technique. You don't have to call it the price is right because that's maybe too cutesy. But you play it anyway. As you drive to the first showings, you stop and say, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I told you to help you learn the market. Let me just, you guys see that house? Sharon, can you see it? All right, Bobby, can you see it? Take a look. Okay, here's the information. I'm not going to let, this one's 1,600 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, double garage. It's sold, it was on the market 27 days, sold last week. What do you guys think it sold for? 150. Oh, honey, you can't get it for 150. That's probably 180. 180, is that your guess? Yeah. This one sold for $375. $375,000, my gosh. So the point is, if they're going to get mad, let them get mad at stuff that's sold. And after they start guessing right, then what do? Then you start taking, and then when you go to your first showing, you could still play the game. Recommendation for you is that you do not tell the buyers about the properties you're going to show them until after you've shown them. That means no pictures, no feature sheets, no prices, no nothing. I think I watch agents make this mistake. They take a buyer to a home and say, well, here's the first home I'm going to show you. Here's the information on it. And they go, okay. And here's what the buyers do. They read the feature sheet. They read the information. And then they forget the house. It's no different than showing the price tag of a product before they've even seen it. Because, all right, the price of this home is X thousand dollars. They go, X thousand dollars for this? Well, that's the same tile in my house. And if you present price first, you're in fundamental violation of selling principles. Always present the price of your product after. The feature sheets that I have on every house shows photos, prices, and all the information. And I have kind of a personal philosophy. I like to save that till the end. I've seen more buyers looking at the feature sheets throughout the home.
Oh, I see.
And I like to save it until the end. So when you're done, I'll give you the sheet and you can take it with you. And are you comfortable with that?
Oh, yeah,
Very much.
absolutely.
I've had more buyers go through homes and they're so busy looking at the sheet they don't see the house. So I'll give that to you at the end. You can take it with you. Have any of you ever been in a home during a showing and a buyer said to you, hey, come here a minute, I need to ask you something. Yes, what's that? I was just wondering, what is this room? That would be the kitchen, sir. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, too. Have you ever been asked what room you're in? Have you? Well, then wait till they ask to answer. There is nothing more annoying, more obnoxious in the real estate business than salespeople talking through a showing. Please be quiet. This is what a showing should sound like. It's driving you nuts because you think you should talk. You don't have to say anything. Say nothing to them. Are you okay with this? And if you're not okay with it, tell them you're going to say nothing. Okay, before we go in, just a couple of things on all the showings today. A couple of philosophies I have. First of all, I don't like to say anything in a showing. Most real estate agents, all they do is talk and tell you what rooms are in. My philosophy is I have nothing to say. You guys lead, and when we're done, we'll talk. Are you okay with me not bothering you with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, if you have questions, please ask, but otherwise I'll stay silent. The final thing is I really need you to share with me what you like and don't like about a home, because I don't own this or any of the homes that we're going to see, so you can be honest with me. If the sellers are in there, though, don't say anything. And then wait till we're out of the house.
Keep
All
that
right.
in mind.
Okay? Good. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the first one.
Sounds good.
Another concept for you, let them discover the home on their own. Let them lead, never lead a showing, let them go first. And if they want to split up, let them split up. But then you have to go and watch where they go. But if you lead every showing, what are you missing? Some of the most valuable information, nonverbal. If you let them go in the home first, they said, where should we go first? You go wherever you guys like to do, whatever your pleasure. And if he goes to one room and she goes to another room, and every time it's that same dynamic, you go, I think I'm getting to see what they need to see first. Don't lead them through it. And when they go into a bedroom, or any room, let them go in first. Because if you go in first, you walk over and say, oh, isn't this a beautiful room? Oh, take a look at this. Oh, isn't this wonderful? Take a look at it. And meanwhile, they're back there going, and you're not seeing them. Or they're going, yes. So another thing is, pay attention. Watch these people. Be sure you place very, very good attention on these people. And then you'll be able to see their buying signals. Do you know when a buyer wants to buy a house? Their eyes light up, they talk to each other, they whisper to each other, oh, this is nice. Or they start doing this. What are they doing?
Placing furniture.
They're moving furniture in. And in fact, if you're really good, you can even recognize the piece. You can say, oh, you guys have a piano. Nice sofa. And then you can ask them questions like, where would you place a piano? Whose room would this be? And get them involved. By the way, if a buyer says, we'll take it, it's a strong buying signal. Yeah, then you just write it up full price. Let's take a look at just a real quick peek at how we might respond during some showings.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Traffic is bad. Noisy.
A little noisy for you?
Yeah.
I can't see ourselves living in this place.
No, I don't either. How can you
The
relax?
swings that has to go, the traffic, I don't
Can't
know.
make that go away.
That's pretty bad.
Other than the freeway, how do you like it?
Well, the bedrooms are a pretty nice size, but
But
I don't know.
That's about it, though. I mean, landscaping needs some work.
But the freeway would definitely rule this one out.
It's
Oh,
definitely an out.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
You wanted to be close to the freeway? It's pretty close.
well, maybe a couple of blocks away, but not this close.
Yeah, a little bit too close. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of noisy.
Well, just from my perspective, what are some things that you did like about the home?
Well, like I said before, the bedroom sizes are fine. That's what I'm looking for in a house.
Okay. So the bedrooms work for you. Juan?
I like the
But-
bathrooms. Bathroom downstairs, really nice layout.
All right.
But that's about it, though. I mean,
Okay.
if she likes the bath, I don't know. You like what the
Well, you
bedrooms?
said you
or-
like the kitchen. Why did you like that? Because I'd like
It's
to...
got a nice design. It's got a wraparound dining area with the kitchen.
Yeah.
A lot of light.
Okay.
He likes to cook, so he likes to cook in comfort.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other comments on this home that I should...
No,
Okay.
just can't see myself living here.
Okay. Well, if that freeway doesn't work for you, let's move on to the next home.
Okay,
All right.
let's go. What do you think about the house?
I don't know.
The bathroom
I
downstairs?
don't necessarily care for.
That's
Too
what I
small.
thought.
Yeah.
What are you
The ba-
saying, Juan?
We're talking about the house itself.
Yeah. What did you think?
I don't know, the bathroom's downstairs. It's
small.
just small.
I
Bathroom's
think
too
it
small?
wouldn't serve our purpose.
The bedrooms too. I don't know if I really like
Bedrooms,
them.
they're for a big house, they're quite small. I was
Yeah.
expecting a lot more from a
So the bath and the bedrooms are two. Other than that, how did you feel?
Okay. okay.
It's okay.
You don't sound excited about it. You know what I'm going to recommend?
What?
I'm going to recommend you don't buy this house.
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
good. Wow, look at all this counter space, Juan. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice.
I can
Oh,
see
Juan,
myself.
this is your room, right? Kitchen. So tell me, how do you like this?
This is it. I can see myself cooking.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now, you said you liked a center area where you could get everybody around and. That
Yeah.
work for you?
Lots of help.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, you've seen it all. Tell me, how do you feel about the home?
I like it.
I like it too. That looks
Yeah, you
great.
guys have been smiling a lot throughout
I
this
know.
home.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think this is it.
This is it.
Okay. I didn't give you this feature sheet before, but this is the one they're asking $149,900 on this.
Oh, okay.
And the availability they're showing seems like it would fit within the time frame we talked about. Would you be comfortable then submitting an agreement on it?
What do you think?
I think so.
Okay. We've got a couple of options. We can sit down and go through a lot of the paperwork here, and I don't know when the owners are going to be back, so we could also go back to your home. What's your pleasure?
It's probably more comfortable at our house, don't you
Back
think?
to
Juan?
it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Told
so
you we'd
too.
find you something.
Oh gosh, finally.
All right. Well, this is
great.
exciting. Now, so you've seen him. Is there anything else you want to see again before we head back to your home? We can take another run through it on the way out if you'd like.
No, I think this is good enough.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Thank
out
you
there.
anyway.
Oh, good. Well, I am so excited. This is fun. Well, let's go back to your home, and we'll get this on paper and go from here.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Okay. Some people might look at that and say, well, there wasn't very much resistance there, and in the real world there may be more, so we now know how to deal with that. If you've done your job right, when people walk into the right home, that's pretty much, they know. And if there's not, then you know how to respond to the objections. Question I would have is, and this is maybe your own opinion, once they like a home, where do you think that you should be when you actually sign the contract, actually go through the paperwork? What's your pleasure there? Office? Any other votes?
Somewhere where the buyer is comfortable.
Where the buyer's comfortable? So you have your choice of office, you have your choice of back to their home. Would you ever write it up right in this home? Yes. I hear you. How many of you would write it up right in the house? Okay. Everybody seems to have their opinion on where you would write it up. I would say if you were in a home and the owners are away and the buyers like it and you have the contracts, there's nothing better than the proverbial strike while the iron is hot and sit down and at least, and follow me on this, you may not get every single document filled in, but if you could get even the top sheet and get a couple of things written in, it's a psychological commitment to the property when you sat down and say, okay, so pull out your calendar, the 15th would work. All right, we've got a couple more pages on this I have to go through, but I believe in getting them committed on the way. I do kind of lean towards when they're ready to buy, let them. Now what we need to do is pick up when we go back. In this case, we are going to do the paperwork in their home. So we'll return to their dining room, and now we will complete the paperwork. Well, this is the fun part, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we're excited.
I'm so glad we found something for you. This is the fun part of my job. How are you feeling?
Good. Pretty excited.
Okay. Well, let me take you through what we'll need to do. This is the information on the property as you've seen, so we're going to use that to compute some payments. And I'm going to take you through the purchase agreement and a buyer information sheet. And I don't know, this is, which of you would like to fill this out?
Oh, he
You
can.
want to do that? You're going to need a pen, aren't you? Okay, so we're going to need some information. And by the way, the purpose of that is when we submit the agreement to the sellers, they're going to say, well, who are these people? And their number one question is, can they afford it? So that's why this is going to be accompanied with your pre-approval letter, and that's going to be important.
Okay.
And next, in fact, while you're doing that, shall I figure a payment for you?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Let's see, what was the price of this? Okay, $149,900.
So this is the price we ended up, $149,900.
Well, that's their asking price.
Okay.
In fact, that's the question. When I talked to you the other day, this is a big decision you make, and probably the first number a seller looks at on the purchase agreement is the asking price. So clearly, their asking price is $149,900. Whether they would take more or less, we don't know. We're pretty sure they'll take that. So the question is, how comfortable are you with that price?
I wish they go at least $1,000 lower.
Is that what you want?
That's what I would want, yeah.
Okay. I think I'd agree with that.
Can we try with that? Or?
Well, the literal answer is you may try any price that you want. The more practical answer is how much do you like the home? And a question I like to ask somebody is, if you don't get the house, what would you do with the $1,000 that you saved? And I know it sounds kind of flippant, but it's kind of...
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
All right.
But again, I want you to know that You can offer whatever you're comfortable with. If you were to ask me my professional opinion, 149.9 certainly is within the realm of market value.
Well,
Compared to some of the other ones we've seen. So it's a choice you'll need to make.
okay. We really don't want to take a chance of losing the house, so let's go with 149 then.
Okay. When we get into discussion of what kind of prices should we write into purchase agreements, that's when I get into more debates and more questions than perhaps any other part in my training. And the best way to get a full price offer out of a buyer, you kind of saw it in the last one, where when you sit down with a buyer, all you do is verbalize the full price and start writing. In this case, I wrote it on a legal pad, and I tiptoed in it by saying, allow me to compute your payments for you. I'll go ahead and compute that at $149.9. And it's like I'm waiting for a response. And if they don't say anything, yes. The next step, now this maybe you can't do this, but write it on the contract. Take the purchase agreement and say, oh, I'm so glad we found a house. All right, let me see, what is this? You got the feature sheet there. What was this? $149.9, okay. And then when they want to come in low, you let them make the concession, not you. The risk is if I try to induce these people to pay full price, it may sound like I'm working for the seller. And they're going to go, hey, whose side are you on? But if on the other hand I say, well, I'm on your side, so let's see if we can get it for less. And I say, well, let's offer 140, 138, or 145, or any number other than asking price, what's that risk?
Risk of losing them.
Then the risk is they lose the house. And a lot of people say, well, it's my duty to get the best deal for the buyer. Well, your real duty is to get them the house. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And we have to stop there. Is your duty to get them the house? Forget the rest of the sentence at the best price. Your duty is to get them the house. So then the next question is, what is the best price? In my experience in the business is the best price is a function of the market. And if this is a home that came on the market, it's been on 2 days, and it's the only one in the mid-150s, and it's had 4 showings today, and everything else has a market time of 7 days, 3 days, 4 days, 2 days, what do you think is your duty to the buyer? I could say to the buyer, say, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer is your buyer agent. You could write it at $149.9. You could try less at $145. You could try $142. And by the way, I'm going to leave the choice to you. So my answer to your question is, let them decide. But before they decide, tell them this. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, let me just show you the stack of business cards of people who've shown the home today. Flip through some cards. Give them the facts. This home sold for $149.9, sold full price in 3 days. That one sold $2,000 over in 4 days. This one just came on the market. So Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if you were selling in this market, what price do you think you're going to end up getting? In fact, if you offered yourself $145, what would you do? I wouldn't take it, okay? So put the ball back in their court. But you're right, this is a very sensitive issue, and I'm not going to resolve it here, but I think you with your trainers and managers can resolve that. But here's my summary of the point. My belief, after years in this business, is that homes sell for market value. And the closer you price it to market value, and the closer you offer market value, the more likely it is to sell. Do you guys agree with that? Even if they don't let you go full price, you will get a higher, more reasonable offer out of them than had you said, well, how much did you want to offer? I would say anyone that ever uses the phrase, how much do you want to offer, you should take your real estate license and just turn it in and just say, I don't belong here. And maybe that's a strong statement, but I think the weakest thing agents say is, well, how much do you want to offer? You're better off stating, the price of the property is $149.9. Shall I compute the payments for you on that? And if there's going to be a low offer, you force them to work you down. Don't you just invite them to a low offer. I hope that this role play demonstrates something that will never happen to you. But I need to at least let you know this could happen. So let's take a look at the low offer. So the decision is up to you folks. Carmen, Juan, how do you feel?
I don't know. I think maybe we should just try for it. 1,000 lower and see
1,000
what
lower?
happens. Yeah.
Okay, you sure?
Well,
It's worth a try.
Okay. All right, I can do that for you. I'm going to compute the payments at $149 first, just so you know what they would be.
Okay.
Because anytime that you do come in low, there's an option that the sellers will come back and counter. And that's where you've certainly heard some of the negotiations that go on. So it's entirely possible the owners would look at that and say, no, we really need our full price. And by the way, 1,000 low is certainly not what anyone would consider a ridiculous offer insulting. I mean, that's obviously very, it's right up at their asking price. Okay, so you want to stay at the 148.9, is that right?
yes.
Okay. Next question we need to resolve is closing and possession date. Mortgages anywhere from 30 to 60 days, 30, 45, or 60. Taking a look at your calendar, what works for you? Is 45 comfortable with you?
I think 45.
I think for our situation, 45 is safe.
This next situation may seem ridiculous to you, but it is the very low offer. And this will be painful. Okay, the first thing I want to do is compute a payment for you. And let me see, this was $149.9.
We were going to talk to you about that. We'd like to offer about 15,000 less than the 149.9. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
We
that's...
talked about it, and we'd like our payment to be lower, and we like the house.
Yeah,
but-
the house is great, but I guess our payment is going to be a lot flexible if we go about 15,000 lower.
True, your payment would be lower if you...
So,
We're just thinking of our budget, and we like to have some leeway there.
Okay, well, let me just pause for a second. Clearly the price is an issue and you want to do some negotiating there. Let me ask you this. Other than the price of the property, how do you feel about it? How do you
Oh,
like
we
it?
love the
great.
house. I like it.
like
do.
the kitchen, I like the area. Oh, it's the house.
Okay.
But I think we can try to.
So you like the home.
Right.
Price is something you'd like to do some work on, but other than that, you like it. Let me just ask you, why are you considering coming in 15,000 low?
I'd like to give it a try again. You know, I'd like to see a lower payment, and I think that would work for us.
Well, I'm sure that it would work for you, but as with any agreement, it's got to work for both parties. It needs to be a win-win, and both the buyer and the seller need to come together in agreement.
Oh, and that's understandable. We understand that too. But I mean, from your experience now, what do you think? 15,000 is too high, you're saying? What's the lowest we could go?
I cannot tell you how low you can go. I don't know what the owners would do. I don't know the owners. It's what JP Realty has it listed. And the real question is more of an objective viewpoint, is what is the home worth? What is the market value of that property? And my professional opinion, just from knowing, in fact, you've seen homes. Let me just ask you, let's say you decided not to buy this. Let's just say you decided against it, and we decided to make a side bet for $100. We'll wait till this sells. We'll put $100 on it. As to what do you think it would sell for? If you just had to guess.
I'm thinking it'll sell for about 10,000 less.
You think 10, so even 10 less. So you
Oh,
at least
yeah.
5,000 more than if I bet you, I would bet that it would sell very close to full price. I could be wrong, but that would be my bet. So what would the owners do? The risk you run on a low offer is certainly alienating the sellers to the point where maybe they don't want to negotiate with you at all. And a lot of times when people want to come in that low, my question is, do you really like the house? Because if you don't, I mean, that's okay. I don't want you to in a home where you're not comfortable.
No, we love the house.
Yeah, the
We
house.
just like to try, you know.
10 low or 15 low doesn't
they
sound
might-
like you love it, Carmen.
they might-
that's a lot.
They might come back and say, well, you know,
I can
the
assure you this.
10,000
Well, let me tell you what the owner's options are on an agreement. There's 4 options. They can accept your agreement as is. And at 10 or 15 low, I would say that probably won't happen. They could reject it. And that means they just do nothing at all. They just say, that's it, let's send these guys, it's back to go. You start over. The third thing is that they could counter it, which means they make changes and they send it back to you and they say, we agree with this and that, but we sure don't agree with that. And then the ball is back in your court. And some agreements can go back and forth, but the more they go back and forth, the more they tend to fall apart. And the fourth option is that they may just accept an agreement from another company or from another buyer. Now, that's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to call in just a minute, as soon as I know we have an agreement, not until I'm going to call the listing company and I'm going to tell them we have an agreement to present and I'm going to ask them if they have any other offers. And of course, that changes the whole game if there's any other offers. But assuming now that there aren't,
maybe somebody
Yeah.
else is lower than we are.
I don't think so.
Well, if there's nobody out there, let's go with 10. 10 less than the asking price. And there isn't buyers, then let's go with the original price.
Let's see what his answer is first.
Well, these are
He
tough
comes
questions
back.
for me to answer. I mean, it's hard because I know you want the home. And the question I ask you, this may sound somewhat flippant, but if you don't get the house, what would you do with the $10,000 that you saved?
Oh, lots of things.
Okay. And if the lots of things you would do with the 10 are more important than the home, then this probably isn't the home for you.
Oh, no, we like the house.
Okay. Well, that's the conflict. You like the house, but you want to get it for less. So what's more important, the home or the money? And again, as your agent, I'll do what you instruct me to do. But also as your agent, I'll tell you the owners, I'm sure will counter that.
Okay.
Let's
Well-
try it.
Let's give it a try anyway.
Okay, I'm doing this under duress. Maybe I've been in this business too long, but I'm tired of buyers going, well, can we get it for less? Can we try to steal it? And I'm tired of an industry that caters to that and says, okay, and off we go with low offers. And the function of a negotiator is to find out where we're going to end up. And if we're going to end up at market value, my goal is to work everybody towards that line. And I hate low offers. I've demonstrated it because I just feel we should include it in the video, but it's very difficult to do. And that's why in the buyer counseling interview, you ask them questions like, hey, how do you feel about full price? As you show the properties, you play Price is Right. And when you get to the home, all along the way, you sell the benefits. So if you do this right, they shouldn't come in low. But if they do, you're in a position legally where you have to write it up and take it. And those are the cases where I almost want to turn to the buyer and say, you come with me. I'm not going in there alone. In fact, I know some people even have the buyers wait in the car outside the house. So when the sellers explode, say, well, let me go back to my buyers, and they run out to the street so they can make changes on it. But if you have to present a low offer, it's very, very, very difficult to do. The next one is good or bad, depending on your point of view. But the next one is when you find out you're in a multiple offer situation. Now, if you're on the buyer side of it, you don't like this. Up until now, if you came in 1,000 low or 2 or 3, maybe you had a chance. And if you decided to try it low, at least it was just you and the seller. But in this case, you call to present and you find out it's a multiple offer situation. What do? You turn to your buyer and say, well, guess what? We're in a multiple offer situation. And when you're in that situation, here's how you handle it with that buyer. Okay, I guess just so you know, when you submit an agreement with a homeowner, there's 4 things they can do. They can accept your agreement. They could reject it, which means they just go send you back to go. They could counter it, make some changes in your agreement, and send it back to you. Or they could accept a competing offer that may be coming in at the same time. So considering that, those are some options. And maybe before we proceed, the next thing I should do is check with the listing company and call them, let them know we have an agreement coming in, and finding out if there's any other offers. But I can't make that call till we know that this is for sure a go.
That is a go.
Okay, I need that commitment, and I can do that. So what I'm going to do is call them up, and we're going to find out if there's any other agreements on that. Hi, Judy. This is David Knox. Hi, how are you doing? Good. I just want to let you know that I am writing an offer on your property on Bossert Drive, and I just need to know if we can set an appointment to present it. Okay. They're going to be home 7. 7 would work. Okay. Judy, I guess the question I have is, are there any other offers on it? When did that come in? Okay. Any others besides that? Okay, so we've got two agreements with mine coming in. Okay. All right. Good. Well, we will see you then at 7 o'clock tonight. All right. Thanks, Judy. Bye-bye. Well, somebody else wants your house.
Uh-oh.
And so the good news is you must have bought a popular house because there's somebody else interested in it. And the rules of multiple offers are she's not going to tell me what her offer is, and I'm not going to tell her what yours is. And this is kind of like a poker game, only the difference is you get to deal your own hand. And this is, most multiple offer situations are kind of one-shot games. We go in one time, the owner looks at the agreements, and everybody knows it's a multiple offer. Everybody comes with their best offer the first time, and they pick one and it's sold. Let me tell you what I do on multiple offers. It's up to you. Every blank on this purchase agreement must be better. First of all, earnest money. I've had buyers come in with their entire down payment as earnest money. That's one thing I've done. Sometimes come in with a certified check. The price is the key issue here. And they're asking $149.9. I like to get somebody up, for another $100, you're into the $150 range. We've had homes go $1,000 over full price, $2,000 over. So that's an option. Clearly, the closing dates and possession dates must match what the sellers want and make that harmonious. And we clearly don't ask for any personal property other than what they're asking for. So given that range, what feels comfortable to you?
What do we go about? 500 over.
Wow. Okay, well, if you think that's going to get us a house, sure.
Problem is we don't know. You just don't know. Just keep in mind there's an agent with another couple like you having the same conversation. So that's where this is. So who can outbid the other? And by the way, closing dates, sometimes it's not just the price. It's closing dates, possession dates, things like that. So those are some things. Okay, when you're in a multiple offer situation, if you felt my last one felt like I was working for the seller, this one you really are. It really feels that way. And when you're in a multiple offer situation, if nothing else, at least there's very little question in your mind whether or not it's worth $149.9, usually. So when you're in a multiple offer situation, you know they're coming in very close. I think we as agents need to just tell the buyers the truth. When they say, what should we offer? The answer is, I can't tell you what to offer. I can tell you your options. You can come in low, right at, or you can come in high. Where you go is a function of the market. Let me tell you about the market. How many buyers are for sellers? How many homes like this? Let me ask you folks, bottom line, it's an emotional issue. Have you seen any other home you like better than this? No? Then I guess I put the ball back in your court. What's more important, having this home or seeing if you could save $1,000 by finding others? And put it back on them and let them make the decision. And ultimately, even as a buyer agent, they've got to make that decision. Because if you make it, you're in trouble. But they should make it on valid information. So if you really want to have a good offer, you need to find out what the perfect closing date is. And you can do things like earnest money, full price, certified check. So you write it just perfectly. And you slide in there, boom, you win. I hate losing a multiple offer. That's just, it's almost embarrassing to lose. All right. So at this point, you've worked with the buyers, you went to a buyer counseling interview, you showed them homes, they fell in love with it, you finally got them on paper, and that's the ultimate result of working with your buyer. Now it's time to see the other half presenting it to the seller. That concludes our showing and closing the buyer.